Why will that take 20 minutes? All you have to do is go and grab the drug off the shelf for me and count it out. That's all you have to do, you know? And I really wish I could have your job, just standing around on the computer all day. You know, you're probably playing solitaire back there, not even really doing any work at all. Those are some of the most common phrases I hear at work every day. I work as a pharmacy technician, and no one really understands what it is that we do. I mean, you really can't without coming back to the pharmacy and standing there and watching us work. But that's not going to really happen. So right now, I'm going to tell you what really goes down in just the filling of one prescription. All the steps that has to go through. There's 6 main stages that every prescription has to go through. There's input, 4-point DUR, third party, filling, visual verify, and then there's pickup. I'm now going to take you through the steps for just one prescription. First off, there are 3 main types of prescriptions you can fill at any old pharmacy that doesn't compound. There's your legend scripts. It's just any average prescription with no hydrocodone, no narcotic aspects to it. Secondly, there are your C2 scripts. These are the most powerful narcotics. They're the most controlled because they're the most easily to get addicted to. And third, there's your class C3 through C5. These are your Norco, your hydrocodone, your Xanax. They're very easily to get addicted to, but they're not as controlled as your C2 scripts like Adderall and morphine. Now, the first stage that everything has to go through after drop-off, this is the input stage. It's what your technician primarily does in any old pharmacy. It's what we mainly do. This is where we decipher what it is the doctor's writing for, what prescription he wants us to fill for the patient. I say decipher because you've all seen a doctor's handwriting. It's pretty bad and sometimes hard to read. Now every script, this is what the pharmacy tech will look at. We have to go from anything from the date it was written to the drug to the quantity and even refills. Now, that's every single thing we have to do for every script. On an average day, we get about a couple hundred new scripts. So, I mean, that's just our first step, and people wonder why it takes time. After that, once we type it, it goes straight to the pharmacist, and the pharmacist is going to go over it. It's called the 4-point step. They're going to verify everything we typed and just double check that we got it right before we send it to filling, before there are any mistakes that are going to happen. Now, if a pharmacist sends this back, it's going to come back to us and we're going to have to fix it and send it back, and sometimes that can become redundant and it does become a pain. Then once we finally get the prescription to go through 4-point, once they approve everything that we've typed, it's going to go through the DUR and third party stage. DUR is the drug utilization requirements of it. The pharmacist is going to verify that there are no drug-drug interactions with the prescription the doctor wrote for. If there are, they're going to call the doctor and verify that the doctor knows the patient's on both of these prescriptions and that there's not going to be an issue with it. And the third party, that's your insurance. Where the technicians, if there's an issue, we're going to have to call the insurance. We're going to have to get an override. Sometimes it'll go through, a lot of times it doesn't happen, so it adds a lot of work to us. We're going to have to let the patient know any issues there are with their insurance with the third party. There can be a prior authorization. It could be too soon for them to fill it, and it can just be that they won't accept the day's supply that we typed it for. And after this comes the filling stage once it's approved by the insurance. At the filling stage, mainly the technicians will be back there filling. Sometimes the pharmacist, depending on how busy and how swamped we get, the technician is going to go to the shelf, scan the stock bottle, verify that it's the right drug, and once that's done, we're going to count out the quantity prescribed from the doctor. And then it'll go to the visual. But with C2s, the strongest narcotics, the pharmacists themselves have to count that drug, and they have to verify it through the system and log it into a book to keep record of every prescription of that drug that has been filled, just because it's so strongly regulated from the state of Texas. After that, you get to your visual verify. This is the last step where anyone actually looks at the drug. Right here, the pharmacist is going to verify the quantities and everything about the drug. Make sure we actually filled the right drug. We don't want a wrong one going out. That is not a good thing. So they're going to verify that, and if there's any issues, they'll send it back to filling, and we're going to fix it, the pharmacy tech, the next filling associate available. Then once it finally gets through that visual verify stage, then it's at pickup. At pickup, the prescription's going to wait for you to come pick it up. We're going to have it hanging on the shelf, just waiting for you to come. Except for the C2s, yet again, those are going to be locked up because we don't want anyone getting into those and have a big issue on our hands. Now at Sam's, we're going to keep the prescriptions for about 10 days before we put them back. That's quite a lot, considering on average you do about 3,000 prescriptions a week, double what our next highest competitor is in our district for Sam's Club. So we'll keep those for 10 days before we return. Before we return it, it just goes on the patient's profile where we can refill it at any time. Yet again, the things that I want you to consider is next time you visit your pharmacy, just look at what they're doing, see all these different steps, and realize, hey, they're not just standing back there playing solitaire. They're back there going through multiple steps, making sure you get the best safety with your drug. And just one last, we went through input, 4-point DUR, third party, then there's filling, visual verify, then pickup. A lot of steps rather than just going off the shelf and grabbing it. And one last note, with patience, it's the companion of wisdom. So if you know what you're saying, then maybe next time you'll have more patience with what you're waiting on.